Like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat on the way in. And Quack Dracula said, I knew you had to respond. Oh, you know. Oh, you know. Hey, Miss Yanni, what's going on? And so when I said I know she's listening to me, I don't have no true confirmation. It's not like she said anything. But I mean, if I posted this video in my community chat and she makes a video about this video within a few hours, then I'm pretty sure Miss Yanni listens to Mr. Z, right? Right? Her perspective is still all type of FUCK right? It's all type of messed up, right? Okay, so let's get into it. Yanni covers the segment that I posted up from Breaking Points, where Sagar and Jetty brings this up, and he talks about it, brings up, excuse me, men in general. So that's American men, not just black men. We're gonna get to that in a minute, and how this is how them not entering the workforce, them becoming recluse, despondent, showing the level of indifference, how that's affecting or how that could potentially affect society, right? Sagar himself says he doesn't have the answers, right? And he just, kind of goes into, just the numbers. Now, Sagar has been doing this since him and Crystal Ball were on the Hill. So Sagar has been bringing this up for a while, right? Because you could tell Sagar probably like snoops into Manosphere talking points a little bit. He listens to Joe Rogan, so he's a Joe Rogan. So he listens to Tucker Carlson, he listens to Joe Rogan. Tucker Carlson had covered men in crisis type of issues already. Joe Rogan has brought certain people on already, right? So Sagar listens to those people, so he knows. Sagar's in the know, and Sagar is lightly and gently tapping, society and be like, "Hey, this is a problem, right? This is going to be a problem. This is a problem. It's going to be a bigger problem. Y'all can keep on laughing and joking and poking fun at men, young men, but this is going to be a problem." And what does Yanni do? Turn around and poke and laugh at black men. Yanni completely ignores the fact that Sagar is largely talking about white and non-black men. You want to know why? Because that's the majority of the male population in America. Yikes. Yanni goes out of her way to completely ignore the fact that Sagar is talking about American men, which means he's mainly talking about white men. And if he's talking about white men, then you gotta know he's talking about Latino men too. And even a few Asian men on the margins. And yes, black men. But Yanni, oh, look at that. Oh. You have to direct all your energy to black men, right? Look at that. And Toya says, "You gotta make me start consuming her content." I mean, it's entertaining. There were people in her comments. I guess men started snooping in. I caught it at the very end. I had to go back and listen to it at like two times speed to catch as much. She had people come in later commentary. You saw the men copping pleas and not pushing back on her and not having a conversation with her about how this is going to affect society and how we rigged the system for the women. So like I guess because we live in this hyper individualistic society and the society has truly become atomized, like women think that atomization hasn't affected them. That's why Yanni was like, "Yo, y'all don't even have friends." She really thinks like this hasn't affected women. Like women aren't atomized too. Once again, that moral high ground thing that certain black women adopt, like everybody's becoming more atomized, more singular, more to themselves, internet junkies. But Yanni doesn't think that affects black women. Like that, black women that doesn't affect them. They're not singular. Meanwhile, they spend all their time on the internet, and you got the rest of them complaining on TikTok about not having friends and definitely not having no man. But Yanni over here pretending like we don't know that. So yeah. So what I want to stress here, and why I'm covering this, I want to speak about how do people continuously get the wrong perspective or come to the wrong conclusion even when people are like, Sagar is being so deliberate to like drop the most deliberate, intentional breadcrumbs ever. And Yanni still takes this and say, hey, these men are losers. No, sorry. These black men are losers. Right? So a young man is in Yanni's comments and he speaks about the he uses a Mr. Z line, but he doesn't drive the point home, which is like, y'all are on antidepressants. Yanni snaps back and says, yo, but y'all unaliving yourself. Y'all are a mess over there, y'all. Complete mess. And you know she's super sassy, so you know. Y'all are a complete mess over there. Yeah. It's interesting listening to people that do not understand how systems work. They really think we out here as individuals, and like what happens to me doesn't affect you. That whole what you eat won't make me shit. That's BS. Women are living it now. Black women are living it now, and they still talking crazy. Yanni, black women are living with the consequences of black men becoming indifferent now, and you are still poking fun. White women are living with white men becoming more indifferent, more recluse. Y'all, this is what y'all wanted, ladies. Y'all wanted the systems. Y'all got it. How many Gillette commercials you think young men are going to watch and then still want to go out there and slay dragons and do for women? How many times you think these men are going to be Me Too'd and call street harassment and call weird or awkward, or I'm sorry, the new word, corny, and still want to slay dragons and still want to approach women? Oh no, y'all got what y'all wanted. Have fun fighting for that top 20% of men. See, when Mr. Z used to say that a year and two ago, people thought I was crazy. Have fun fighting for that. Y'all want the top 20%? Y'all got it. Good luck out there, ladies, particularly black women. Good luck out there. The bottom 80% are invisible. You'll occasionally have some bedroom fun with them. Fine. Have fun out there. Happy competing. May the odds forever be in your favor. Right? Even when Sagar is like showing this is a systemic problem, this is going to be a systemic problem. If you listen to all the time Sagar has covered any issue with men, young men, he's screaming, this is going to be a systemic problem, a systemic issue. And these people are so hard up at making fun of black men, they don't see it as a systemic issue. I just this morning covered black women, a post that Yanni posted in her community chat. And yeah, I poke a little fun, but guess what? I said systemic issue. And I said, they're playing you. I made sure to say, that's the white people, Yanni. The white men, Yanni. The uber rich white dudes with the money, the one that all y'all ladies want to get with, including you black women, those white dudes at the very top, yeah, they're playing you against you, yourself. I was talking systemic. You, on the other hand, Yanni, not so much. You think tens of millions of men, particularly young men, are all coming to the same conclusion by themselves. Why? Because it's not a systemic issue, right? You think it's not a systemic issue? This is what the women Yanni, go talk to the radical feminists. Go talk to the feminists. This is what they wanted. They said as much. And they spent decades fighting against it. Fighting towards it, fighting for it. So they got what they wanted. And so the rest of you ladies, minus you, Yanni, because you got money. So the rest of the ladies are going to have to suffer. Fine. Like I said, I hope y'all got y'all boxing gloves ready, y'all boxing shoes ready, and y'all can fight it out in the middle of the streets for the top 20% of men. Y'all could be the pass around for the top 20% of men. For those of you that don't get them, you'll reluctantly, begrudgingly grind your teeth to dust, end up with the other 15, 20% of men, right? Divorcing them within 5 to 10 years. And for the rest of you, I guess for the other 60% of women, I guess y'all are engage in same-sex relationship things, or like Yanni's own comment section for the video. I mean, for the clip of the post about so many women or so many people being celibate. I guess y'all are be celibate or virgins for decades on end, right? And Demetrius says, dang it, why you gotta go live? I gotta meet science class to go to. Ah, well, Demetrius, I guess you'll catch the replay, but learn something in class, right? Right. And take class seriously, so you don't have to be out here, and you could pick and choose what you want to do. You don't have to be out here with these weirdos, right? And yeah, so the listening to Yanni speaks just shows, even when these people are very deliberate in saying, hey, this is going to be an issue and this is what's going to be an issue and why, or this is an issue and this is why it's an issue. Even with that, they still come to the conclusion of, well, these men are the problem. Yanni, once again, Yanni, this is a systemic issue, a systemic issue, a systemic problem. You want to know why? Because the feminists and the capitalists got what they wanted. The feminists and the capitalist society that you swear by, Yanni, those elite men and those upper middle class and above white women mainly, with a couple of notable bitter, angry black women, they got what they wanted. With a couple of notable lesbian black women, yikes, they got what they wanted. This is what particularly the radical feminists wanted. And they got it. But you think it's an individual failure. And you direct most of your angst to black men. Yikes. Black men who were not in the room for the decision making of how this is going to go. Most of your angst is directed towards black men. The group of people that were not in the room, because of slavery and Jim Crow. Yikes. Because when these things were being decided, when the feminist movement hijacked the civil rights movement, yikes. When those things were being decided, black men weren't in the room, Yanni. Oh, by no fault of their own. I know that's hard to say. Wait a minute. It's not black men's fault? Yeah, Yanni, it's not black men's fault. But shout out to your subscribers, because they're the ones who's going to have to suffer the consequences. Right? So give me a second, you guys. Let me read a couple of notes. Let me go check the notes real quick. Wait a minute. So Yanni brings on a young lady when she opens up her panel, and the young lady and Yanni start speaking, and apparently black men don't know how to be intimate outside of sex. Oh boy. Now we getting into the obviously lying, because nobody else in society says this thing. Black men don't know how to be intimate outside of sex, but other non-black men do. Oh boy, y'all heard that right. Yeah, you heard that right. So what the hell are white women and Asian women and whatnot complaining about? Because apparently black women, who have the lowest interracial marriage rate out of everybody else in society, are saying that black men don't know how to be intimate outside of sex. Huh, how would y'all know? I mean, I know 15% of y'all, give or take, are having children out of wedlock with these non-black men, but y'all ain't getting a wedding ring like that. But all of a sudden, black women who have the lowest interracial marriage rate in America are saying that non-black men, black men only know how to be intimate during sex, but non-black men know the different ways of showing intimacy outside of just having sex. Huh. See, this is that hair salon talk that never get checked. See, y'all remember the sister on Twitter? These non-black men, when you go on date, oh no, she said white men or non-black men, whatever. These non-black men, even on first dates, they're paying for to get your hair done, your nail done. They're doing all of these things, and she got checked by nothing but white guys. 5, 6, 7 white guys descended in her comments and said, "I don't know what white dudes you're talking about. I'm white. I have nothing but white friends. I don't know what you're talking about." This is another one of those gaslighting techniques. Well, I'm gonna just talk to black men about these omnipotent, right, omniscient white men and Asian men and Latino men, and I'm gonna gaslight them into being the type of men I want them to be by talking about how great these non-black men are. Except when the non-black men say, "Yeah, that's not us. What are you talking about?" Yikes. Except when these non-black men didn't get the memo and they're not destiny and they're not trying to blow smoke up your rear end. And they say, "Yeah, what are you talking about?" And these are not some hood black dudes. These are not your wannabe black white dudes. No, these are your standard everyday white guys, 9 to 5 white guys that are like, "What are you talking about? We're paying for hair and nails on the first date before we even go. What are you talking about?" Right? These gaslighting techniques, white women look at y'all like y'all crazy. Shout out to Shay Sade when she interviewed the grandma, the white woman that's married to her white husband for a couple decades and has white sons. And Shay Sade was talking to her about all black women and how they talk about white men and all this greatness, and she giggled. Sorry, she chuckled, and she held. You could tell she tried to hold it, and she burst out laughing. Because y'all could try to pull those gaslighting stunts with black men. White women that actually have white husbands, white sons, white nephews, white uncles, white fathers, look at y'all like y'all are crazy. What are y'all talking about? Yanni, what are you in the young lady that called? Wait a minute. Black men. So let me get this right. Other women speak about black men and their member, yes, their male member, yes, but also their intimacy and their passion. But black women are saying, no, these men actually don't know how to be intimate outside of sex. Huh? Wait, that's what white women are saying about white men. So yeah, black women and white women and Latinas and Asians, y'all gotta commiserate, and figure out which lies y'all want to keep and which lies y'all want to tell about others and which lies y'all want to tell about yourselves. Right? Because there's too many conflicting information here. So black women are saying black men don't know how to show intimacy outside of sex. Huh. But white women are saying the same thing. Oh, it gets even worse, you guys. The young lady and Yanni say black men see sex and use sex as conquering. Oh boy. And the sex is animalistic. Oh, we gone full. Oh yeah, we went full white supremacy. Oh, what y'all thought? We went full on white supremacy. Sex with black men is animalistic, and black men use sex as conquering. They view it as conquering. Oh yeah, we went full on white supremacy with these quotes. Let me get this right. We are still living under a predominantly white regime on this planet. White men use their male member as a conquering tool around this planet, and they're still doing it. Let me say that again. They are still doing it. The largest group of interracial marriages in America is between white men and Asian women. White men have more children outside of their race than any other group on the planet. And Yanni and her subscriber are talking about black men viewing sex as a conquering mechanism. Now, do men in general maybe view sex as a power game? Yes. But to say black men, let me say that again, black men, one more time, black men out of anybody on the planet. Go speak to the children of the Jewish women that were in Auschwitz and Dachau. Go ask them about sex being used as a conquering tool. Go ask indigenous folks about sex being used as a conquering tool. Both in South America and North America. Go ask them. Go ask the Vietnamese about sex being used as a conquering tool. Go ask them. Go ask the Koreans and the Chinese what the Japanese were doing. Comfort women, anyone? Huh? Y'all want to know why the Koreans still have a salty taste in their mouth about the Japanese? Mess around and call a Korean a Japanese. Go ahead. Especially an older Korean person. Especially an older Korean man. I dare you. Black men view sex as a conquering tool when they're the least likely to view sex as a conquering tool, particularly Black American men, Black westernized men. White men literally were raping other men, indigenous men and Black men in the Americas. They were literally raping men because they viewed sex as a conquering tool. And now we have these women in the 21st century talking about Black men viewing sex as a conquering tool, as they're conquering women. Huh. Meanwhile, you type in domination on any adult site, we'll say, and it's pretty much mainly white dudes. Because the creators of that adult content know that that's what the white boys be on. That's what the white men are on. You type in conquer on any adult film site and tell me who pops up by vast majority. Right? Y'all just don't know what y'all talking about. So y'all take this segment from Sauger where he's very deliberately saying this is a systemic issue. And Sauger, Richard Reeves, Scott Galloway are telling y'all, hey, we did for the women systemically over the past 50 years. And it happened so fast. What we've done for the women, once again, systemically, that they're starting to outpace. And if they haven't already outpaced at the younger ages, their male counterparts, the difference is men will date socioeconomically down. They will marry socioeconomically down. The women won't. In other words, egalitarianism is BS. In other words, we gave women the high heel syndrome. Women have the high heel syndrome now. And that's great. Like I said, have fun fighting for the top 20% men. So you have researchers, you have journalists, all saying, hey, this is a problem because the men will date and marry down, the women won't. We socialize the men to accept women in better positions, more educated, etc., etc. But the women, I don't know if we socialize them to be in those positions psychologically, mentally, emotionally. Right? In other words, dun dun dun. I'm back, you guys. I'm back. I'm back. Phone overheating, of course. Now, Mr. Z still here. Mr. Z still here. As I was saying, because my phone wanted to do its own thing. As I was saying, dun dun dun. The word these people don't want to hear because they think you can socialize it out of women, and apparently not. Right? The word hypergamy. See, y'all try to be cute with the little euphemism, assortative mating. Who's practicing the assortative mating and how are they trying to assort themselves? Yikes. Right? Who's practicing the assortative mating and how are they trying to assort themselves? So women, and Scott Galloway saying it, and it's making people on the left cringe. The women aren't coming off of it. They're not. And it's not only online dating. Y'all could cut that crap. Right? Y'all could cut it. The women are telling you straight up, no and hell no. So it's not just the degree, it's the money, it's the status. Y'all thought y'all could do that. And I'm not saying the extreme, the radical feminists or even some of the feminists. I'm talking about your run-of-the-mill person who thought, yeah, I mean, your run-of-the-mill kind of technocrat who thought, yeah, no, we'll put women in these positions. And then, a nice chunk of them will earn more than their male counterparts. And they'll be okay with that because, men are lying. Women don't really care about dating and marrying up that much. We can socialize that out of the women 50 years later. How's that going? Who has the highest divorce rate? The men with the money over their women, or the women with the money over their men, and the women with similarly or the same type of money as their men? Who are more likely to get divorced? Right? The data is what the data is. The history is what it is. If y'all were right, Real Talk with Yanni wouldn't be on here making fun of black men and ignoring the fact that Saga was talking about American men, generally white men. That part, right? Now I'm still here, you guys. Give me 1 second. I want to click on my notes again if they could show up anytime this century. There we go. Right? And don't y'all forget, they said black sex or black men's sex is animalistic. Oh yeah, we went right back to the plantation. Oh, we're right back on the plantation. Black women saying sex with black men is animalistic. Black women. Let me say this one. Let me go down the list. Black women, ADOS, FBA, black women in America in the 21st century, only a little bit over 50 years out of Jim Crow. Black women, and that's Jim Crow on paper. We know it's still going on in many respects. Black women are literally coming out the mouth, right? Saying sex with black men is animalistic. I don't know how many rom-coms y'all have watched. Y'all talking about sex with black men is animalistic. You're saying black men kind of use sex as a conquering tool. I don't know what rom-coms y'all have watched or what type of novels y'all have read or magazine articles or teeny bopper things y'all were into, white teeny bopper things y'all were into when y'all were children. But you need to go talk to the whites. Go talk to those white women that y'all wish y'all were, the upper middle class and rich white women, and talk to them about black men using sex as conquering, and see if they don't laugh in your face. Yanni, you just don't know what you're talking about. You just don't know. Black men of all men use sex as conquering, right? And Big Kev says the same black men that are labeled, air quotes, misogynist and air quotes, oppressors in black America are called gentlemen almost everywhere else. I'm saying they don't see that. They don't care about that. Yanni saw that segment that I posted in my community chat earlier. By the way, that segment was out. I held off. I posted it in my community chat and she covered it. Yanni, are you a subscriber of Mr. Z, Yanni? Or are you not a subscriber of Mr. Z, but you still shadow watching? Huh? You got a different account? You shadow watching, Yanni? Because I see you making moves. Now Yanni talking about, 9 to 5 people. Not everybody's going to be a millionaire. Not everyone's going to be an entrepreneur, right? 9 to 5 people make society go around. Yanni, you weren't talking like that years ago. You weren't talking about that even earlier this year or last year. What happened, Yanni? Oh no, I'm gonna make all of y'all all gonna start copping, please. Because y'all sound insane and it's hurting even your own subscribers. Because most of your subscribers will be 9 to 5 everyday regular women. All that opulence and extravagance talking, you gotta be with a man like this, and if a man don't have this, then he's nothing. Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about. You're sending your subscribers out there to be lonely and single forever. Right? And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Right? So we get into the part where Yanni and her subscriber are saying $100,000 is not enough anymore because of inflation. You got to make 500,000. Oh boy, God, I know you out there. Wow. So 500,000. So the bar. So shout out to Jason Black. Now Jason Black, they see your little 330, 320, and they raise you another almost 200,000. No, Jason, they said, oh wait, to have a family and children, you got to earn 300 and some odd thousand. No, nope, Mr. Black Authority. No, we're gonna raise it another almost 200,000 and say 500,000. So in one breath, Yanni says, the 9 to 5 thing, and not everybody can be, entrepreneur or a millionaire or whatnot. And then in the next breath, they saying 500,000 is the new comfortable spot. $500,000 because a subscriber says I make 100 and my mom looks at me like I'm rich and I'm like this is nothing. It's only 75,000 after taxes. The vast majority of Americans don't even make 75 before we even get to the 100,000 before taxes, right? Before we get to that, the vast majority of Americans, that's including the white men y'all worship, don't even earn that. Do y'all know what y'all talking about? Do y'all even know what y'all are talking about? DA, you late. Made the video already, and DA says, because she doesn't know, DA says, why don't you get at Jason Black? He has the same opinion about hypergamy, doesn't push back on that nonsense, even though he's supposed to be pro-black. DA, I have. Go check the videos. Go check my archive. I've made at least 2-3 videos about that type of thinking, including directed towards Mr. Black. I know y'all think that we don't be getting at the men when they say these type of things too, but Mr. Z does. You might have jumped the shark on that one. So continuing. So the way these women are phrasing this, or framing this, better yet, sorry, framing this. The way this is being framed is as if black men aren't black, they're just men. And so because they're just men, whatever white men have decided and done is just a man thing, and black men went along with it. So Yanni speaks as if, isn't this what the forefathers of this society, they're the ones who designed this. You mean when black men were in chains? Or when they were stuck in the plantation? You mean those forefathers? You mean those forefathers, Yanni? When black men were in chains? Those forefathers. So in that era, what say did black men have? Yikes. So, okay, let's say you weren't talking about that. Let's talk Jim Crow. Oh, wait, you mean the men that were sharecropping were also in the decision-making room? or the ones that were running from their lives from the South to the Northeast and to the West Coast and to the Northern Midwest. Those men, those same black men were on one hand running with their families to different parts of the country to get away from the South, and then they were also in the decision rooms in New York, in DC, in different capitals, state capitals around the country. Yeah. See, when it's white men that screwed up, it's men. But when she wants to direct things to black men specifically, then of course it's black men. Huh. Huh. Meanwhile, all the data shows us that black male politicians are the most open to things that benefit women. Black male politicians largely vote to the left for things that benefit women, and yet Yanni is speaking about black men like black men are the oppressors, when black men do everything to liberate black women, even from black men, whatever oppression you claim that black men are visiting upon black women. These people, y'all got to get y'all story straight. Y'all got to get y'all story straight. Right? So, you know, and y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Yanni also brings up the fact that Sagar speaks about, you know, the dearth of friends amongst men, right? And she brings that up and says something along the lines of, y'all don't even have friends to connect us with. Y'all, what use are y'all, right? What use are men? What use are black men? Because we don't even have friends to connect these women with when they're trying to, you know, business endeavors and whatnot. So once again, just viewing men as a walking resource and walking wallet, neoliberalism much. And so this is what Tucker Carlson was speaking about. What capitalism will do to men. What capitalism will do to the family. Where women just see you as a walking resource, to women's own detriment, by the way. So y'all keep on swearing by this system, Yanni. You're going to be okay. Because like you said, you paid $10,000, over $10,000 in taxes last year. Your words, right? You're earning over $100,000 a year. Meanwhile, your everyday 9-to-5 black woman, the young ones, are trying to be what you want, but they can't afford it. And Yanni did, at least from what I heard on that video, she did not once speak about systemic anything. As a matter of fact, she tried to throw in men's, well, yeah, we might be on antidepressant pills, but y'all are unaliving yourselves. Y'all are deleting yourselves. And the selfish of you delete others too. And da-da-da-da-da. Once again, lacking systemic critique of anything. What did FD say? Systemic analysis or something like that? And DA says, excuse me, DA said, I watched the CNN clip. Young people don't have friends because they are on the internet. I don't even see kids play on the park like that, like they used to. Well, DA, not according to Yanni. Yanni speaking like it's a man thing. Women are straight over there, right? And she pokes fun at Kevin once again. She didn't say Kevin's name, but the whole, oh, we're gonna die alone. Y'all are dying alone. Y'all don't even have friends. Right? Y'all don't even have friends. Meanwhile, I don't have a TikTok. But if I was to open a TikTok, how many videos am I going to see about women crying in their car? Adult, grown women. Xers and boomers and the oldest of millennial crying in their car because they don't have a loved one. Yikes. So y'all have all these frenemies that y'all calling friends. Let's call a thing. And we're black. We already know about black women and they goddamn frenemies that they can't keep around for more than 5 years. Let's stop playing. So y'all calling y'all frenemies friends that y'all can't keep around for more than 5 years, and now y'all saying, oh, y'all don't even have friends. Y'all can't even connect us with anybody on some business stuff because y'all don't even have friends. Miss Yanni. See, I get the clapback, Yanni. I understand, especially that I made the video critiquing what you posted this morning. I get it. I understand. I get it. But Yanni, you lack systemic analysis. You lack it. My critique was still systemic. My critique was still how this is not sustainable, not only for the Black community, but for this country. That was my critique. My critique is that we did all of this work to elevate women over the past 50 years, and now the women themselves are suffering because they're saying they're not going to, air quotes, date down or marry down. That's not what your feminist foremothers fought for. And I'm talking about the most sensible ones, if you could find any. You're not even just the feminist foreman, you're telling the capitalists and the feminists, yeah, no, I'll take the money and I'll take the education, but then I want a man above me. Wait, Yanni, you don't even understand how this works. Okay, let me get this right. Women want to fight to be equal in the workforce and have equal opportunity, but when they start to beat out the men, then they tell the men, we don't want you. And when the society gives them a more than equal level playing field, an above equal level playing field, the women then turn around and look at the men and say, yeah, we don't want you, which is okay when it's only 5% of women, maybe 10% of women. But when it starts to be a third of women, 40% of women, 50% of women, we got a societal issue. That's what you're lacking, Yanni. Yanni, you're fighting both sides of the fence. That's the problem. Choose a side, Miss Yanni. Do women want the education and the money and the status and the middle management jobs with the title? Or do they want the men to be the ones to provide that for them? And if they do, then tell them to go back home. Drop their jobs tomorrow in significant number. Tell the white, rich, elite men, yeah, we ain't coming back to work. Go hire my boyfriend. Yeah, we ain't coming back to work. Go hire my husband. Yeah, we ain't coming back to work. Go double their pay. Because anything short of that, you're going to continue to have this, Miss Yanni. Women got to choose one. Or be single. Or engage in same-sex relationships. Right? The math is not mathing, Yanni. It's just not. The math is not mathing. That's the unfortunate part. And it's systemic. The feminists are telling you, yeah, we worked hard, we got women in certain positions, they're in college, they're making their money, men are largely out the way. And then Yanni comes back and say, yeah, but no woman trying to marry or date down. You completely missed the point then. You can't have both, Yanni. To all of Yanni's subscribers, you can't have both. Either you're equal to the men or the men are better than you. That's it. The men either earn more or more educated than you, or you're equal to men, or you're doing better than men. And once again, the divorce rate is highest for when women are doing better than their male counterparts and when women are equal to their male counterparts. Flying in the face of all that talk about wanting to be educated and all that other stuff, the math can't math like that. It just doesn't. Right? It just doesn't. Either you want the jobs and you want the formal education or you don't. And when you have the jobs and you have the formal education, you have to understand the consequences that come with that. The unforeseen, what does Richard Reeves say? The second order effects of this. and deal with it. Like I said, yeah, ladies, all right, like Yanni might not be into eating vagina and same-sex relationships, but that's pretty much where your subscribers are gonna be, right? Because y'all are not being honest with them. Yanni, you still trying to protect feelings out here. And Big Kev says a wannabe white woman, and thank you for the super chat, Big Kev. Big Kev says a wannabe white woman lecturing black men about manhood. Let me say that again. A wannabe white woman lecturing black men about manhood. Exactly. Exactly. Right. So, and you know Yanni lacks systemic critique because first she throws this as men's faces. She thinks it's a way of saying, do better, men. Ladies, Yanni, it didn't matter what women did. If the society didn't decide to put women in the workforce and to open up the schools to women and to open the corporate sector up to women and to open banking up to women and let them have control of their own finances, if the society didn't decide to do that, it didn't matter what individual women did. This is not an individual problem, Yanni. I know you want so hard to stick your finger in men's eye, black men's eye. I know, I get it, Yanni, but this is bigger than you. Oh God, did Mr. Z just tell a black woman that something's more important than her? Then this is bigger than her and her little gripes with black men because of how she felt when she was pudgy? Yikes. Did Mr. Z just tell a black woman that the world doesn't revolve around her and her emotions? Oh, talking about emotion, well, black men don't understand that yeah, it's not just crying and sadness that's an emotion. Anger is an emotion too. Rage is an emotion too. We actually do know that, Miss Yanni, right? We actually do not know that, Miss Yanni. What about sass, Yanni? Goddamn, Mr. Z. What about sass, Yanni? Where does that come from? What type of emotion is that? The constant need to sass, the constant need to deflect, right? And one of the last people to get on with Yanni, one of the last women, was all the men came up here and they were deflecting. Yikes. You know what, ladies? Just enter your same-sex relationships. Get your boxing gloves and boxing shoes ready. Have fun, dear black women. Have fun fighting the white women and the Asian women and some of the Latino women for their top 20% of men. Because like y'all said, the top 20% of black men are too colorist. They're a-holes. They think they know everything. They're monsters, right? Have fun fighting the other non-black women for their top 20%. Have fun over there. Because clearly black men are the worst. Because what is it? Black men want to have animalistic sex, right? That's according to Yanni and her subscriber. Black men view sex as a conquering thing. It's like they want to conquer you. That's according to Yanni and her subscriber. Right? Okay, Yanni, you're right. You're absolutely positively right. Men are the issue, primarily black men are the issue. Fine, then deal with that. Because, like I said, the indifference, that's what's going to kill black women. It's not black men hurting black women. Let me tell you, the vast majority of black men are not going to try to enter a relationship with a black woman and be on some DV thing, right? No. Strike black women, no. Curse black women in public, no. None of that. No, no. You know what's going to hurt? The indifference. Fine, we're the worst in the world. White men do it better. Fine, cool. The indifference. The indifference. Right? The young lady that was speaking to Yanni, speaking about she felt like she was being bullied at work by the black men, right? It wasn't other women, it wasn't black women that was making fun of her hair and that made her have a certain mood when she walked to work, right? They're trying to steal her ideas, they're making fun of her. It was the black men. Once again, the big black buck, apparently for these women that doesn't know how to show intimacy, so I don't know, buck, intimacy, whatever. The big black buck that's bullying the black woman. He's a monster to the black women. He's jealous of black women and their intelligence and their work ethic and their resourcefulness. And DA says, wow, disappointing. She focused on black men when the clip was talking about all young American men. Of course, but you know, Yanni got to do that. And that's exactly the angle Paris would take. That's exactly the angle Chrissy would take. And by the way, Themis was in her comments. You know you on the wrong side when Themis is in your comments. Themis sent a super chat. Y'all gotta ask yourselves, why is the gay black dude, this gay black dude of all of them, why is Themis aligning with y'all all the time? It's like when you say something, let's say you're at work and the dude you know is on some white racist thing, right? He has the back the blue flag on his in his cubicle. He has love cups in his cubicle. He has the little sticker on his car, right? He then slipped up and talked about how he was raised and you could tell he came from a white racist family. It's like him agreeing with you on a whole lot. And you'd be like, wait a minute. So Themis is in your comments. Themis is listening to you. He agrees with you. And you don't question what you're saying? Right? You don't see that as a problem. All right, I guess. So we have this is a systemic problem and issue for men, young men in America. In particular, some certain cohort of black women think this is the time to poke fun at black men, black young men specifically. Right? This is the time to poke fun at black men specifically. And I get it. We're both jonesing. We're both kind of making fun of each other back and forth with this conversation. I get it, Yanni. I get it. No sour grapes over here in that respect. But Mr. Z is still speaking about things systemically and how it's going to affect the black community overall, black women specifically, black men specifically. You, on the other hand, Yanni, I listened to your whole segment. You did not. Neither did your subscribers, particularly the women that called in. They didn't either. Too busy poking fun at black men and talking about the intimacy that non-black men show that black men don't. For those of you that missed what I was saying in the beginning, Yanni and her subscriber are talking about how black men don't know how to show intimacy outside of sex compared to non-black men. Yeah, you heard right. In America, non-black men, that's white men, y'all, know how to show intimacy outside of sex better than black men. We've gone complete topsy-turvy. Who needs the white racist feminist, right? Who needs Massa Candy from Django? Who needs them when you have black women like this? We went straight back to the plantation. So you got black women talking about black men and their animalistic sex, using sex to conquer. Literally, they came out their mouth and said these men, they view sex like they're conquering you. Black men. These women truly, like Big Kev said, these women truly think they're some upper middle class white women. Now we're using full-on white feminist tropes about black men. This is coming out the mouth of black women. And they're saying it unironically, right? These gaslighting tools, there's no way in the world they could work. You want to know why? Because you live in the country with the same people you're worshiping. And they're even telling you, yike, no. Yeah, that's not the dynamic we got going on over here. We're just not as loud as you guys over there. We're just not as loud as you over there in the black community, right? So white women will continue to let you try to gaslight black men, and they're just gonna watch you destroy your life. Right? So, you know, this is important because this is how certain people perceive things when they're given to them, right? When something is presented to them, the way they perceive these things is very interesting. And DA says, I think you're trying to say, I don't think white women even care about this, to be honest. I think they do. I think one of the biggest lies we tell ourselves in the black community is that white people don't care. I think generally everyday white people generally may not care, but to maintain their position, yes, they have to care. To maintain their position of over black people, for the most part, at least maybe the elite white folks, they have to care. How do you maintain your position if you're not constantly looking at what the enemy is doing? Right? I mean, remember, these are the same people that make photos like the one or draw make art like the one I posted this morning in my thumbnail. And I'm not saying that person was specifically a black person. I'm saying that's the type of media they put out. They have to care. Look at a explosion of black woman with white man commercials that we got over the past few years. And then you got Joe Biden saying, well, I see all these interracial commercials on TV. Right? They do care. They do care. Especially when you see CNN CNN and ABC covering why are so many black women single? Right? And they're chuckling in the background. They're asking the question, kind of poking fun at black women. Oh yeah, they care. Yeah, they care. You got this middle-aged white woman. So many black women find it difficult to find love when they're educated and like white women don't have the same problem. Like there's not more white women entering and graduating college just like black women, and they're making the same complaints as black women. But it was easier to hide it back then, a decade plus ago. What that segment came out at you guys, what, over a decade ago? Because it was a couple of different segments talking about this, like 12, 13 years ago, 14 years ago, right? Little news segments. And thank you, Big Game. Big Game says in 09. So what's that, 13, 14 years ago, right? So yeah, I would disagree with that, DA. I think they do care. And this is their way of poking fun at black women and gaslighting black women about black men. This is their way of keeping black women having an issue with black men, feeling like black men aren't rising to the occasion. Meanwhile, their own sons and nephews are INCLSs and are self-deleting at a higher rate than everybody else. That's the white guys I'm talking about, you guys. But they're poking fun at black women. Meanwhile, they can't hide it anymore, and the white women are on. Like, see, if it wasn't for the internet, y'all would never know, except for those of you that actually talk to white people, not just kiss their rear end at work. Y'all would never know white women are going through this at home. Y'all would never know when they go back to the white suburbs. They're going back to an empty apartment because mass media wasn't telling y'all that. Mass media was poking fun at black people and the issues they're having in the black community with their families or lack thereof. Now y'all finding out from the white girls and the white dudes online who didn't get the memo that they're supposed to keep that at home, what's going on in white society. That's why I laugh at black women. They're like, y'all don't see white men doing this talking. There's no manosphere in the white community, and you just laugh. The white manosphere may not be as impactful as the black manosphere, but they're definitely larger than the black manosphere. You're a fool if you think the white boys ain't yelling and the white girls ain't yelling. Look, listen to the TikTok, everyone. TikTok. Young white women, middle-aged white women, old white women, all in their car, all in their kitchen, in their room, screaming about being single, miserable, unhappy, college educated or not, stable or not. No, DA, I'll push back on that. Yeah, this society cares. They care. Maybe not your 9-to-5 everyday white person because they're too busy working and trying to make a living. But some of your elite, oh yeah, they care. They definitely care what's going on in the black community. I wouldn't be surprised if a couple of these people in this conversation are legit government assets, right? Maybe not full-on agents, and even that I wouldn't be surprised about. But if these people aren't assets to some alphabet boy somewhere, the way they talking. And Mr. Shug to you says, feminism on top of bad attitudes equal unbearable. And that's what it is, right? DA, you see me? And DA says TikTok are full of white women talking crap about their men. And yet you let Real Talk with Yanni and her subscribers say, oh, black men don't know how to show intimacy outside of sex compared to non-black men. Which non-black men? Somewhere in the world are white women falling out of their chair laughing. Latina women falling out of their chair laughing. Asian women falling out of their chair laughing. Black men, a lack of intimacy without sex. Wow. But once again, this is like that gaslighting tool that many black women use against black men without realizing that we have the internet now. And white people can no longer pretend like they're perfectly okay with that. That's what this whole segment was on with Sagar. That's what Sagar's trying to tell you, Yanni. You're too busy trying to chastise black men and poke fun at black men. You don't get that. Sagar's mainly talking about white guys because Sagar knows if anybody's going to come out here and shoot some stuff up and start offing people, it's not going to be black men. Black men are not even going to do that in their own community to black women because they're being turned down. Now, does it happen every once in a purple moon? Yes. But that's not a black man thing. That's not a black boy thing. Sagar, no, if anybody's going to grab arms and start doing detestable things to others in society because they can't get laid, it's going to be white men. But you keep on kidding yourself, Yanni. Bro, these people can't have, there's no way y'all have white friends, white associates that y'all talk about with these things. And let me be very clear. You don't give up the game that's going on in the black community. You give them just a little nugget to get them talking, and then you get all the information from them. Y'all don't even know how to talk to white folks. So they could start telling you what their cousin is on. So they could tell you how racist their granddad is. So they could tell you about their uncles and their aunts and their nieces. Y'all don't even know how to talk to white folks without, let me tell you what's going on in the black community, and black men are this, and black men are that, and black men are horrible like this, and black men are horrible like that, and black men don't do this, and black men don't do that. And then they take that and play you in mass media. But y'all don't know how to talk to them to get the game from them about what's going on in white society and how it's not peaceful and great over there, and how they not balling out of control over there, and how they got functional crackheads over there. Y'all not talking about to the Latinos and the you definitely not talking to the Latinas. So they could tell you how much DV is going on over there. You're not talking to Latina. I know you ain't talking to the Latinas. But they'll tell you about the DV in their community. They'll tell you about their drug dealing family members. And how they uncle that got money in a house down here in South Florida in Kendall is old drug money. That's old 1980s Griselda Blanco drug money. The uncle jumped out the game early enough and didn't get caught. That's how he got that big ass house in Kendall. Meanwhile, y'all coveting that family's position. You don't know that's 30-year-old drug money, 35-year-old drug money. Y'all don't know because y'all not talking to them. When y'all do talk to them, y'all talk to them about some stupid reality TV show stuff and how horrible black men are. Y'all spill all the beans. As a matter of fact, y'all exaggerate. Y'all don't pause and let them talk and tell you what's going on in their communities. Y'all didn't even know about what was going on with Asian dudes and Asian women. Right? Y'all don't even know what's going. The Asians. Let me get you. Let's put this to rest. American-born East Asian men marrying outside of their race at 39%. American East, excuse me, not East Asian. Let me say this correctly before I get it out. American-born Asian men marrying outside of their race at 39%, 39%. American-born Asian women marrying outside their race at 54%. And y'all think everything's hunky-dory over there? Occasionally, Mr. Z will type in things on Google, on YouTube to see how much game they're giving up. They're not saying nothing. Meanwhile, they're not marrying each other. Black community loud as hell. When we marry each other at 80-something%. Let's say Gen Z and millennials are going to change that number. It's still going to be somewhere in the 70, even let's say it's even 60 some odd percent, 70 something percent when we do marry. Now, we get divorced within 5 years. That's a whole different conversation. But we still marry somewhere probably now in some 70 some odd percent when we do get married. In these other groups that's only marrying each other at 60 some odd percent, barely 50%, if even, you go online to see how much they're talking about the schism in their community, and you could barely find anything. It is definitely not as loud as the black community. Oh, that's for sure. It's definitely not as loud as the black community. Right? The women over there got issues with their men. And I'm gonna read a comment that DA said to that in a minute. But let me get this. Big Kev says they know black women are lying, but they let them talk. And DA, not DA, sorry. Big Kev, that's one of the saddest things. Black women really believe their hype. They think the silence is some type of like, these people believe what you're saying. They agree with you. Right? What's the brother's name? I think it's Little Bill or something like that. It was one of the brothers that was on FD Signifier's video about the Black Manosphere, and he was part of the part where they spoke about divestors. And he was saying, like, when he talked to white folks about how black women be like, oh, I'm gonna get me a white man and blah 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 blah, and he's like, wow, they really think that? They really think we're like that omnipotent? They really think we? And he was like, yeah. See, white folks will pretend like they don't know, but when you actually put it in their face, like, oh, by the way, black women over here talking about how great y'all are and y'all are like super gods. And white folks, like, when you put their back to the wall, I'm talking about your everyday white folk, not your uber racist. I'm not saying that your everyday white folks isn't racist. When you put when you actually have the conversation with them, they're like, wait a minute, they're saying that? And then you wonder how they're able to play you ladies. Because they pretend in front of us like they don't hear y'all. That's why when we say to them, they're like, oh, really? Like they didn't know. But when they get in those writing studios, they exploit all of that angst coming from black women. Right? What y'all thought, ladies? Like I said, Shay Sade was talking to that lady. That's a mother and a wife, white woman married to a white man with white children, white sons, white son-in-laws, white nephews, white father. And when Shay said, you know, black women in the black community think that white women got it all hunky-dory, and she laughed. She laughed. She couldn't hold the laugh. She laughed. She was like, wait, are you serious? The lady said, wait, are you serious? But they know we have issues over here. They just don't believe y'all talking like that for real, for real. Right? And DA said, married white women talk crap about their husbands on TikTok. They gender war, just don't say white men and white women. Exactly. Exactly. And I wanted to show that, and let me leave that up for a second. I wanted to say that, DA, so that, because people, when they hear white men say Western women, they don't realize, or they're pretending like they don't realize, that white men are talking about white women largely. You got to know that white men, yeah, they might be on the margins talking about Americanized Latinas and obviously black American women, but they're talking about white women. When they say Western women, they're talking about white women. When they say women, they're talking about white women. Clearly, if they're not marrying y'all at any significant number, they're not talking about black women. Right? So Yanni, just talking. Yanni, you could just talk all you want. You don't know what you're saying. You just don't know what you're saying. You don't. And I get it. This is your way of responding. I see lately you've been covering more things politically and what's going on in the country. I see you, Yanni. I see you. I think you're a subscriber of mine. If you're not, I think you shadow listening. I'll be that egomaniac and be like, Mr. Z, you know she ain't listening to your stuff. I think Yanni is. I'm not gonna say that same thing for other content creators, but I think Yanni is. I know I got a super small channel, especially compared to hers. My channel is tiny. But Yanni in particular, I think she is subscribed. If she's not a subscriber, I think she listens in. I get you, Yanni. Your perspective is still crap, though. Your perspective is still going to hurt your subscribers. Not just black women in general. Yes, black women in general also, but specifically your subscribers, because you refuse to come to terms with everything that's going on. You could keep on selling them on this version of capitalism. You could keep on selling them on not lowering their standards and being hyper individualistic. You could keep on poking fun at black men. Ha ha ha. They don't even have friends, right? And what did she say? There's a book that was written that said, you know, the higher women get, the lower men get. That's what the radical feminists wanted, Yanni. That was the whole point, Yanni, for them. They've said as much. Duh. How did you think this would? Let me get this right. Women were going to do better, but then men were going to do better, but then women were going to do better, but then men were going to do better. What? In many respects, this is kind of a zero-sum game. We brought women into the workforce. Not saying we fully doubled the workforce, but we brought women into the workforce. We brought them into the education system. They're going to college. How did we think this was going to work? Right? What did we think was going to be the outcome of that? There's incentives for women in education. There's incentives for women. There's incentives for women. As I said, that's how Elizabeth Holmes was able to play all of those rich, elite white men, because they wanted a token. They wanted to be like, look, we're not sexist. Look, we have this white woman. That's where Sheryl Sandberg comes in. That's why they kept on bigging her up. But she thinks just like them. She moved just like them. She just has a vagina. Right? With her BS lean-in book. Right? That's what Margaret Thatcher come in Britain. Right? And what was the name of was it the secretary? Oh, I forgot her name, from America. Y'all know who I'm talking about. She's out of California. Her face is in my mind right now. Not Nancy Pelosi. She was a conservative. What is her name? Dianne Feinstein. That's where Dianne Feinstein come in. That's where all of them come in. Yes, Nancy Pelosi. Yes, Ruth RBG, right? Or RGB. Yeah, that's where she come in. Ruth Bader Ginsburg. That's where all of them come in, because the system wants to show, look, we were including women. Right? You got Benazir Bhutto even all the way in Pakistan. Right? The system's trying to say, look, women are didn't is it Hong Kong had a female leader? Or do they have one now? I think Hong Kong has a female leader right now. The whole system's trying to say, look, women are included, both in and out of America. I think even North Korea had a female president at one point, if they don't have one right now. Is it right now? I don't think so right now. Right? And with that, women didn't turn around and say, yeah, okay, this equality thing, we mean it, but we don't mean it. Wait, we want equality in the workforce. We want equality in the education system. But all of a sudden, when it's time to get married, we don't actually want to pay half the bills in our home. What? We want a man that's more educated than us and makes more money than us when it comes time to date and get married. But we want equality, and actually we want better than equality in every other endeavor in our life. The math don't math. It doesn't work that way. And y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. That's the problem. The math doesn't math. It doesn't work that way. Yanni, it doesn't work that way. And it's systemic. Women didn't just rise to this occasion in a vacuum. Women didn't get to where they are all across the world, particularly in the Western world, in a vacuum. That was people, including men, rejiggering the system to put women in these positions, to help women along the way, so that your efforts don't go unrecognized. There would be no Oprah pre-1970s. There would be no Oprah. What she would be another Hattie McDaniels type. Yeah, that's cute. Hair. I'm a what was it? I'm a not a benefit to my race. I'm a what they had her saying at the award ceremony. Some disrespectful stuff. I'm a credit to my race. Some disrespectful stuff. That's where Oprah would have been. Come on, man. You think there would have been a Rihanna? There would be no Rihanna. There would be no Oprah. There would be no Shonda Rhimes. That wouldn't exist. The system opened up to allow for women to be in these positions. Women took those positions and then started yelling about where's the men. Whoa. I want that middle management job that pay $55,000 a year. Yay. 60 grand a year. Yay. $65,000 a year. I want to go to law school so I can afford those red bottoms on my own dime, even though I still want a man to buy it for me. Now I got it. Now where are all the men on my level and above? Jesus Christ. I want to occupy the top 20%, and then I want a top 5 and 1% man. The math don't math, ladies. The math don't math. You see me, Spain Man? And Spain Man says, funny how they never fess up to anything but quietly change their message. Yanni doing that now. Chrissy trying to cut please now, trying to play damage control now. Like the 18th letter said, you help to bring black women online to this extreme point, to this extremist view, talking real reckless and crazy about black men, sounding like neo-Nazis. And then when they sound like neo-Nazis and white folks start to pick that up, and you start to get scared because they're investigating the black manosphere and the manosphere, the alphabet boys, so you know they're listening into you too. Now you start copping please and trying to play damage control. We know, Chrissy. Don't worry, if them alphabet boys know who we are, they know who you are too. You can bring in all the white Zacks all you want. They know who you are too. They don't listen to all your old stuff too. They know your origin story too. You ain't safe. Paris ain't safe. Yanni ain't safe. Mahogany Pink, look, she ain't produced nothing in what, in a year now, give or take? If FD know who Lexus Exodus is, the alphabet boys know who Lexus Exodus is too. Right? They all try to copy because it's getting too thick now. That's why. Scott Galloway talking too much. Richard Reeves is talking too much. Now, if you hear, let me make sure I say this. If Richard Reeves is going on to Rollo Tomasi, if he's speaking to Rollo Tomasi, you gotta know he hear y'all, ladies. If he's taking shots at Kimberly Crenshaw, Chrissy, you know he know who you are probably. Even if he don't know you by name, he heard that type of rhetoric. Yanni, he heard your rhetoric. Paris, he heard your rhetoric. This is a researcher. If he's going at Kimberly Crenshaw, if he's stuck talking to Rollo Tomasi, and Rollo was incensed when Kevin passed away and he saw how black women were dancing on Kevin Samuel's grave. That's a white man with a predominantly white young audience. Right? Y'all can't play damage control after this. Y'all been loud for too long. Right? And Christopher Clipper, speaking about Hattie McDaniel, said, and she had to go to the back door during the Oscar award. You see what I'm saying? And because our system opened up enough for us not to be put in that position anymore, Oprah is still one of the biggest names in Hollywood, one of the biggest names in America. And then these women get those positions and they say, men, well, if I can't have a man on my level, da, 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 da. And white men are better anyway. Meanwhile, all your black female celebrities, like 90% of them, 95% of them aren't with white men. Why is that? These women been in Hollywood for over a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades, and they don't got no white man. What do they know that you don't know? They're rubbing elbows with the most elite white men on the planet, not just in America, on the planet. Meanwhile, Yanni and her subscriber talking about these black men use sex as a conquering thing. Yawn. Black men don't know how to be intimate outside of sex, and these non-black men do. Like I said, meanwhile, black female celebrities, attractive black female celebrities, where's the white man? They're rubbing elbows not with just white male celebrities, with all type of white elite men, all over finance, all over politics, all over entertainment. Where's the white man? Y'all just don't know what y'all talking about. Right? And DA, thank you. DA says pregnancy and child rearing challenges equality. People aren't honest about that. Right? And DA also says women being hypergamous is them acknowledging subconsciously, or excuse me, women being hypergamous is them acknowledging, I think you meant to say on a subconscious level. Yeah, on a subconscious level, that they are not equal due to pregnancy and child rearing. They need to say it out loud, because that's not what Yanni's on. Poking fun, making fun of black men. It's funny until it's not funny. Meanwhile, your subscribers on another post are speaking about how they've been celibate for 3 and 5 and 7 and 10 and 15 years. You're poking fun at black men, Yanni, and your subscribers have been celibate, which means they're, let me get this right. Wait a minute. We're speaking about black men not being able to show intimacy outside of sex. You've been celibate for 15 years, but yet you've been intimate. You've been celibate for 10 years, and yet you've been intimate. You've been celibate for 5 years, and yet you've been intimate. Let's be honest, people. Let's be honest, people. Black women being intimate in a 5-year span and then not having sex? For 5 years? Even if it's with different men, let's say you're not with the same man for 5 years. First of all, you ain't going to be with no grown adult man for 5 years and not have sex. For 3 years and not have sex. What are you trying to say, Mr. Z? I'm saying these women don't have no intimacy in their lives neither. How would you know whether black men know how to show intimacy outside of sex? You ain't being intimate with no one. How would you know? Yes, sex is part of intimacy. Yes. It's not all of intimacy. Yes, but y'all not having no intimate moments with no man. Stop. Not if you celibate for 5 and 7 and 10 and 15 years. The problem is y'all don't get no real challenge or pushback. Y'all get in your echo chambers, y'all talk this crap to each other over and over again, and you think it makes sense. Okay, fine, forget black men. It don't make sense to even non-black people. That's why, what was it, little Bill or whatever? That's why he said what he said on FD's segment about the divestors. When he talked to white people, they're like, what? Black women say that? Yeah, I'm gonna go get me a white man, and white men this, and white men do great, and even Zach, the white dude that Chrissy interviewed, was on some, the divestors, I don't know. But look. Now, of course, he had to throw the black manosphere under the bus. They sound just as bad as the black manosphere. Zach got the unmitigated gall to talk about white men view white men in the white manosphere as losers. And the white manosphere don't have as much pull as the black manosphere in white society. Then why is Richard Reeves talking about them? Yikes. And interviewing them? Yikes. Yanni loved to hear that. So you got this regular average white dude telling you, Oh, white men, but the white manosphere don't got no real pull over here. Meanwhile, Richard Reeves, researcher, Brookings Institute, is talking to Rollo Tomasi. Meanwhile, Rollo Tomasi is on Dr. Phil's show. Meanwhile, they've been talking about the white manosphere going back years. What was the name of the dude that had they did the little documentary on? Meanwhile, they talking all about Andrew Tate. So when y'all do bring people on, men on, y'all bring them on to just do confirmation bias. Y'all are so deathly of. Listen, y'all, I know sometimes the content I put out is sobering and depressing. I get it. And it makes it seem like the sky is falling down at any moment. I understand. I get it. But Mr. Z's channel isn't gonna be flowers and rainbows and unicorns all day, every day. Y'all could go everywhere else on the internet for the motivational talk and the aspirational talk. Y'all could go anywhere else on the internet for that. Anywhere else on TikTok, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook for that. These women are so deathly afraid of being honest with their subscribers. Yeah, you're going to need a man, and it's probably going to be a black man. Yes, ladies, you're going to have to say that like that. Y'all are so deathly afraid because y'all been selling the BS for the past decade on the internet. Longer than that, honestly. Right? Y'all been selling the BS to these women for the better part of a decade on the internet. Chrissy has been here for what, 8 years, 7, 8 years? Yanni, Paris. So now that the crunch is at, now we're post COVID-19, your subscribers are struggling. I just want y'all to know. Your subscribers are struggling financially. And y'all got no talk for them but to get comfortable being single if they can't get the most opulent white dude. And maybe it's okay if they end up with a extra average white guy, but y'all know those guys ain't checking. Like I said this. I'm saying this and I'm poking a little fun. Yeah, I'm poking a little fun. I'll be honest. But let me say it again. Y'all have no choice but to be with black men, and you better come over here with a smile. And the smile is a requirement. Yeah, Mr. Z is saying it like that. I don't even talk like that. Anybody that hear Mr. Z, y'all been hearing me for years. Anybody that know me in real life, I don't talk like this. But the reason I have to say it like that because that's the way it gotta be. No, you better don't come here grinding your teeth. You better come over here with a smile. Because when you was with the white boys or when you had dreams of the white dudes, you had a smile on your face. Even if you resent being here, you better be the best actress in the world, and we let us never know. Oh yeah, that's what it is. Yes, that's what it is. So and y'all like, share, subscribe, hit the super chat. Yanni puts out this content. Um, it's an hour and some odd long, covering the segment from Breaking Points where Sagar is speaking about men in crisis again, which he's been doing for a while now. He's been doing it since he was on the Hill, right? Him and Sagar and Crystal Ball, Sagar and Jetty and Crystal Ball segment on Rising, which was on the Hill channel, right? Sagar's been speaking about this for a very long time. So Yanni covers this, and obviously takes the absolute wrong perspective, and that's okay. That's okay. Her subscribers' lives are going to show you what it is. Maybe not Yanni herself. She's good, right? But her subscribers, that's a different story. Not all of your subscribers make six figures like that young lady that you spoke to, Yanni. Most of your subscribers will never even see $60,000. Most of your female subscribers will never even see 60 grand a year, Yanni. You understand? For a person that wept when Lawrence Smith Field passed because they felt some type of responsibility for their rhetoric and felt like their type of rhetoric led to that outcome. For a person that felt that way just a couple years ago, it's funny how you're pretty much back on the BS now. As a matter of fact, it's as if you never left the BS. That's why Mr. Z doesn't speak about how great white women and non-black women are. That's why Mr. Z doesn't advocate necessarily for black men to date out or marry out. I will explain why they're dating out and marrying out. I'm not coming out my mouth on some insane, well, you know, white women got the biggest butts, you know? For you to come out your mouth and say, black men don't know how to show intimacy outside of sex, but these other non-black men do. Or at least your subscribers say that and you agree, and not tacitly agree either. That's the equivalent of me saying white women outside of maybe a select few in the South know how to cook better than black women. And that might be an argument to be made for some of you young black women, goddamn. That's like me saying they know how to make soul food better. That's like me saying they know how to dance better. That's like me saying they understand black men better. Now that's an argument to be made. Right? So, I had to come to you guys with that today again, right? I was not planning on doing it live. I can't remember. I woke up. I was sleeping. I woke up. I checked my, my internets, right? My social medias, right? What he said, do your Googles. Check my internets, and a brother was like, "Hey, Yanni's covering this right now, Z. You might want to." And I caught the very end, and I listened to the rest of it 2.5, well, 2 point speed, 2 times speed. Trell said, does she make potato salad with raisins? Well, according to black women, the equivalent of potato salad with raisins, non-black men's sex, particularly white men's sex, or white men's intimacy, better yet, let's not say the sex, the intimacy. Apparently, black men only know how to show intimacy and sex, and these non-black men know better. When non-black men don't got nothing on black men when it comes to R&B and singing to women and speaking about how great women are and speaking about how much you love women and putting black women particularly on a pedestal, right? The greatest love ballads coming from mainly men, mainly black men in American history. Even up to now, yeah, you heard right. Even up to now, yeah, I know R&B isn't getting the same play as it did in the 80s, in the 90s, in the 70s, right? In the 60s, yeah, I know it's not getting that same play. But you gotta know the men largely are still on that, particularly for black women. Go ask the late Kevin Samuels when he did his segment on speaking of black men, and he had to tell black men, you're better than this. Thank you, DA. And DA said it's the rom-com that represents white men like that. And that lets you know that black women they're not speaking to white people, white men and white women. They're not. They work with them, they rub elbows with them, they might get piped down by a white guy occasionally, but they're not talking. They don't know. And the ones that do know, just they still turn around and try to gaslight black men. They don't know what they're talking about. And they actually think that this gaslighting works in the 21st century. White men don't talk, excuse me, white men don't speak about no type of intimacy nowhere in the white manosphere. That's not their thing. Build yourself up, make some money, go to the gym, work on your character, da 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 da. Pickup lines, this and that. You know what they don't talk about ever over there? It's intimacy. They talk about penis size. They don't talk about no motion in the ocean. They don't talk about you think we make fun of men we think are simps in the black community? They don't talk about no tenderness over there. No softness over there. And then you got black women speaking like this is the hair salon, right? On how black men don't know how to show intimacy outside of sex, and how black men view sex as a conquering agent or conquering tool, or like they're conquering with black women. Black men, you hear this? Black men see sex as a conquering thing. Black men. These women are American women, black American women. It's crazy listening to people that aren't even a century out of Jim Crow, not even 2 centuries out of slavery, who's live in the belly of the beast of white supremacist society, turn around and talk like this. Black men trying to conquer black women through sex. Man, wow. Wow. Not getting off because she got off. When you hear black men talk, that's all it is. Because we're the concubine class, if you didn't hear. We ain't do our job if you didn't get off. But these same black women that's part of that community then turn around and tell you that you don't know how to show intimacy outside of sex. And these other non-black men do. Huh. So many women of color are just coming right back around to just sound like the white racists. Who needs white racists when you got bitter, angry women of color, including black women who just want to be with a white dude? Just say y'all want to be with the white dude for the money and the status. You don't got to keep on disparaging men of color, particularly black men. Just say you want to be with the white dude for the money and the status, because y'all are coming to the same conclusions that they've been putting out there. I wanted to say postulating, but I don't know if that's the word I want to use. They've been putting out there for centuries. When y'all say animalistic sex, yes, Yanni and her subscribers said animalistic sex. Black people, black men have animalistic sex. Yes, those are their words. Yes, you heard right. Yes, Mr. Z is not making that up. And no, I'm not being hyperbolic. When you hear black women talking like that, you know we still on the plantation. So Yanni with 200,000+ subscribers is talking like that about black men and black sex and black intimacy. What makes her different than the white racist from 2 centuries ago? What makes her different than any white plantation owner from 1840 something, 1830 something, 1850 something? Animalistic sex? We have black women talking about having sex with black men and it being animalistic. What makes y'all different? Yanni got the nerve to be talking about forefathers. They're the ones who designed this. You sound like them. What? Wow. Black women. I don't think Yanni has any immigrant background. Black women. ADOS black women. FBA black women. Talking about animalistic sex with black men. We're not even 70 years outside of Jim Crow. We're not a century out of Jim Crow. We're not a millennia out of slavery. Wow. And D. Scott says, my BBC gives me emotional autism. Right? Oh boy, you guys, I got an errand to run. Got an errand to run, everybody. If she's still here, that is. All right. On that note, because I'm trying to maintain my relationship, because over here, we actually care what the other person thinks and feels, and we do things for each other over here. Yeah, that part. BGS came in with the black women love animalistic sex. Those are the men they choose. Better usage streetlights came on. She might as well have said that, huh? Hey, wait a minute, you ain't even saw the streetlights on. Get my belt. Right? And BJ said, you ain't ish, better you. Oh man. Okay, on that note, let me not have her waiting too long. Better you. So I mean, I can't do my closing 3 and 4 times today, 5 times today, right? So yeah. On that note, I wanted to come to you guys with this to say, even when we have journalists who are covering this, doing their very best not to sound misogynist, while also bringing up a very crucial societal issue that's going to be a detriment to women, right? Like I said, these men don't have to be violent towards women. Most of them are not. And when I say most, I mean like the vast majority, and that's regardless of race and color. They're just going to be indifferent, right? BJ said land the plane. I have to, right? Before it gets shot down. And that's why I had to bring this to you guys. Because even with this young lady, real talk with Yanni, still is trying to play damage control. She said you can do it. Right? And that's unfortunate. Even with this, they still come to the wrong conclusion and then spread that out for their subscribers to hear and see. And it's young women. Y'all not doing them no favors. Right? Y'all not doing no favors. Y'all not doing them no favors. Anyway, on that note, love, peace, and chicken grease. I'll pause right here. Right? I'll pause right here. Y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Yeah, that's that animalistic sex thing. That really, I ain't gonna lie, that really messed with me, because that's straight off of the plantation. That really is a slave owner type talk right there. Yeah, wow. Whew. Okay, every once in a while, y'all know I listen to a lot of this type of stuff, and I'm pretty jaded, but every once in a while they hit me with one of these, and it's like, wow. All right, you guys, y'all have a great rest of y'all day. Mr. Z out. All right, everyone. Oh, go check out other manuscript. Go check out other non-manuscript content, and other Black manuscript content, so y'all can sound way more understanding and realistic than these people, because they sound insane. They don't know what they're talking about. Wow. Okay. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day.